CSEC Physics Paper 1, June 2015. What I did this time around is I went ahead to actually select the correct responses. I believe that will let things move a lot quicker. Let us begin. So number 1 asks us to put that quantity of force in standard form, and the answer is A. We would move the digits, the 4, the first significant digit, 5 places to the left, and so our exponent would have to be to the negative 5. So the second one, number 2, 1 gram is equal to 1000 milligrams, C. Number 3, a 4 kilogram mass is traveling with a constant speed of 5 meters per second. It is brought to rest in 2 seconds. The average force acting on it to bring it to rest is 10 newtons. So for this one, you'd have to calculate the acceleration of the force acting on the object. And if the object is moving at a constant speed of 5 meters per second and it is brought to a stop, brought to rest in 2 seconds, that means the deceleration of it would be 5 meters per second divided by 2 seconds. You would multiply that by the mass of the object to get 10 newtons. Number 4, which of the following measurements has 3 significant figures? A. So we know trailing zeros after the decimal point are significant. However, zeros that are in between the decimal point and before a non-zero digit are actually insignificant. So the answer is A. Number 5, which of the following quantities remain unchanged with an increase in temperature? That would be mass. A boy measured the height of a laboratory table with a meter ruler. Which of the following is the most likely to be correct? This would be C. D is a bit tricky, but you have to remember that it's a meter ruler, and most likely he's going to measure something within the range of 1 meter. So to go ahead and circle 8.95 meters would not be the best answer. So the answer is C. Number 7, the kinetic energy of a body of mass m and velocity v is given by half mv squared, C, or mv squared over 2. Same thing. The graph above shows how the displacement of a runner from a starting line varies with time. This runner is, so according to the graph, he is covering the same amount of distance within the same amount of time, so he is going at a steady speed. A falling raindrop reaches a constant speed when A. There is no net force acting on it. That simply means that the gravitational force plus the upthrust of the atmosphere amount to 0, and this is also called terminal velocity, constant speed. Number 10. The diagrams below drawn to scale represent two forces, S and T, acting at O. In which of the following is the resultant in the direction OX? The answer would be A. If you should connect the head to tail diagrams, you would actually be able to plot the resultant, and the path of the resultant would be that of A. Number 11. When a force F is applied to a spring of original length L, the new length becomes L plus X. What would be the new length of the spring if a force of F divided by 2 was applied? The answer is D. The extension would be also half, so it's L plus x over 2. Which of the following units is for momentum? Momentum is equal to mass times velocity. So this is B. When two bodies collide, momentum is conserved. This means that the total momentum of the bodies before impact is equal to the total momentum of the bodies after impact. This is D. Number 14. Power can be defined as work over time, work per unit time. C. 15. An object is removed from the ground and placed on a shelf. Which of its properties is expected to increase? Its potential energy, C. Number 16. Which sets of units below will give the pressure in SI units? This would be B. Number 18. Boyle's law for gas can be tested experimentally, provided which of the following is or are maintained constant. The answer for this is C. So temperature to remain constant and also the mass of the gas. Number 19, a light bulb is filled with a gas at a temperature of 293 Kelvin. If the initial pressure of the gas is P, what will it be when the temperature increases to 360 Kelvin? And this would be 360 over 293 multiplied by P, the pressure. Number 20. Which of the following ranges of temperature is most suitable for a clinical thermometer? D. 35 degrees Celsius to 44, because that would make the thermometer most sensitive to measure the temperature of a human. 21. The specific heat capacity of a material is the energy required to D. Change the temperature of 1 kilogram of the material by 1 Kelvin. Hence the term specific, that has to do with a specific mass, which in this case is 1 kilogram. In the pressure law, which of the following statements is or are true? The ratio of pressure to Kelvin temperature is constant. Yes, that's 1. And also volume is constant, 2. Because we're actually testing the relationship between pressure and Kelvin, automatically we would exclude 3, which says pressure is constant, because the pressure would change with the temperature and the temperature with the pressure. So vice versa, we are looking at that relationship. So C is the answer. Number 23, which of the following statements concerning radiation of heat is true? And this would be D. A good absorber is also a good emitter of radiation. And also, dark, dull surfaces are better emitters than shiny ones. 24. An electric kettle full of water is plugged into the mains. The process by which heat travels through the water is B. Convection. 25. There are no attractive forces between molecules in a D. Gas. 26. A gas occupies 26. A gas occupies 2 meter cube at 27 degrees Celsius and at a pressure of 1 atmosphere. At a pressure of 2 atmospheres, it occupies a volume of 1 meter cube. What is the temperature at this new volume and pressure? So you'd have to use the gas law, combined gas equation. So PV over T equal to PV over T. The number of moles of the gas would remain constant because we're dealing with the same amount of gas, considering that it's a closed system. So the answer that you should get is 27 degrees Celsius. So because the volume is compensated by the pressure, the change in pressure, the temperature would remain the same. 27. Which of the following is the correct relation between wavelength, speed, and frequency of a wave? C. 28. Which of the following waves are not transverse waves? Sound waves from a guitar string are not transverse. 29. Which of the following statements about the wave shown in the diagram above is or are true? The answer is D. 30. Which of the following statement is true? C. 31. The normal hearing range of a young person is about 20 Hz to 20 kHz. 32. The lady views the image of the vase, which is 0.25 meters in front of her. How far from her is the image of the vase? This can be very tricky if you probably don't draw it or don't consider what's going on here. So please remember, when something is reflected in the mirror, it is also reflected with the depth. So first we need to calculate the lady's distance from the mirror, which is already given, so it is 4 meters. Now the image, the object that we're focusing on is a vase, and that will be reflected with depth. But how far is a vase from the mirror? It is 3.75 meters. So you have to add that 3.75 to the 4 meters to get 7.75 meters. 33. Which of the following events does not suggest that light travels in straight lines? A rainbow formation in the sky. B. Because the rainbow, as the name suggests, is bent. 34. The specific latent heat of fusion of water is 340 kilojoules per kilogram. This means that when 10 kilograms of water freezes, it takes D. 3,400 kilojoules of heat is given up. 35. Which of the following diagrams best represents the passage of a beam of white light through a triangular prism? C. And as we go along, you'll realize that many of these questions are repeated from one year's paper to the next. So you can look for these staple questions. And that was one, the prism one. 36. The diagram above shows the formation of an image by a magnifying glass. D. 37. If FL is the focal length of a lens and GF equal FL, then where should an object be placed as to produce a virtual magnified image? This image should be placed between L and F, some distance less than the focal length. And this virtual image would be produced behind G. 38. A ray of light in air strikes a glass block at an angle of incidence of 0 degrees. The light will be undeviated. 39. When a polyethylene rod is rubbed with a cloth, it becomes B. Negatively charged by gaining electrons. And if you read the other items, the other options carefully, you realize that they make no sense, because protons will not move. And you cannot become positively charged by gaining electrons. So just use the method of elimination. If you're having difficulty with any question, you should be able to give yourself a 50-50 chance of getting the correct answer. 40. Which of the following statements about insulators are true? A. And A entails an insulator. In an insulator, all electrons are bound firmly to their atoms, and a good insulator retains its charge better than a conductor. 41. Which of the following diagrams is a representation of the current potential difference relationship for a metallic conductor at a constant temperature? This would be B. 42. Which of the labeled parts is the electrolyte? And this is Q. B. Number 43. A student requires a circuit to measure the resistance of a resistor. Which of the following circuits is correctly connected? This would be C, because the voltmeter has to be connected across the resistor to measure the resistance. Ammeter has limited resistance, so it is negligible. 44. The refractive index of a transparent medium with a critical angle C for light traveling from the medium to air is D sin C. 45. In domestic insulation systems, which of the following components should be placed in the live wire? And the answer is all of them, D. 46. In which of the following diagrams are the resistors P and Q in series with each other and parallel with R? So P and Q are actually in A, P and Q are actually in series, and both combined are sharing voltage with R, so they are parallel to R. 47. When a large current passes through a fuse, which of the following sequence of events is correct? So first, the wire would get hot, then the wire would melt from getting too hot, and then the current would cut off. So A. 48. A semiconductor diode produces half-wave rectification of alternating current. Which of the following statements is true? So the current obtained flows only in one direction, yes. And also there are periods when no current flows from the source. 49. Two light aluminum spheres A and B are suspended by insulating threads. If they come to rest, as shown in the diagram, the force keeping them apart is electrostatic force of repulsion, B. Which of the following statements about alternating current is true? B. It can be rectified by using a semiconductor diode. 51. Which of the following diagrams are correct? All of them are D. 52. A transformer is used to alter the voltage. Yes. A. 53. A rectification can best be done by a diode. 54. Which of the following is 4 times the mass of a proton? A. Alpha particle. 55. J.J. Thomson discovered the electron. Of the following physicists discovered the proton? That would be Rutherford. 56. Which pair of atomic nuclei are isotopes? Isotopes have the same proton number but different amount of neutrons. So their atomic mass number is different. So that would be P and R. 57. Which two elements could occupy adjacent positions on the periodic table? And if we go right back up, this would be P and Q, because Q's proton number is just 1 more than P, so it would be right next to it. 58. Which of the following scientists discovered radium? And this would be Marie Curie. Madame Marie Curie. 59. Which of the following statements about radioactive decay are correct? It is a random process, we learned that, and it is due to changes in the nuclei of the atoms. So that would be C. 60 and last, which of the following statements concerning alpha particle are true? It has twice the charge of a proton and it has the same sign charge as a proton. So the answer is B. So if there are any questions you have, you can leave them in the comments and I'll address them. Exams are just a few days away, so I will surely make your questions, your queries priority. So if there is any question here, item that you didn't understand why the answer was so, you can just leave your queries, leave your issues in the comments